Well, great to have Mr. Premji live with us here to give us a perspective of India at Davos and what the world thinks about India in today's circumstances. Mr. Premji, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
We're speaking to you on a day when people have seen a little bit of relief through a CRR cut coming back home, but really, India does need a huge, huge push right now, a push in confidence and a push in growth. How do you see that happening?
Well, I think we should wait till the outcome of the elections. And I think you'll get the government being quite active after the elections. Even if the results of the elections are neutral to the government, they'll still be active. I think they've realized that inaction is setting back the country in terms of economic growth rates. And that is sending a message.
Do you see the turning point happening, though, in both sentiment and, sort of approach? Do you think that whole talk, as we have seen a large number of CEOs, including yourself, say, government, do something? Do you think that that reaction is beginning to come now?
Well, I don't think necessarily it's coming because CEOs are saying it. I think it's coming through a process of self-realization, and that things have to be brought to a head. And I think that's good in a way, that they have realized it themselves. I think the fact that people spoke up may have helped the situation. I don't know how much.
Okay, but importantly, we're at Davos and everybody's looking up to you to get a sense of what's going on in India. And perhaps one of the important things here, that India has always been a big part of the world economic. Excitement come down. Do you feel that as a chairman yourself?
I think hypes have come down, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if we overhype ourselves up, or if others overhype us up, there's always a disappointment to follow.
Yeah.
And the fact that the growth has slowed down from a level of 8.5% to 9% to 7 to 7.5%, I think the Prime Minister himself said it was going to be between 7 and 7.5%.
Right.
Is a damper on the situation. There's little doubt of it.
This time the contingent is also smaller, and large number of CEOs have decided either to not come for whatever reasons, whether it's personal, professional, or just the crisis. Do you think sometimes CEOs also get tired about batting for India on an international forum when we've got so much mess happening back home? Scams?
But is the participation from India less this year compared significantly? Or
well, at least the prominent people are not there. For example, Montek Singh just cancelled last night. Kamal Nath's not coming. Anand Mahindra dropped out because he's going to the Sundance Festival. So there are a bunch of people who one would normally see, along with you here, who've decided not to come.
Maybe they knew about the snow.
I know there's always a brighter side to it, but the fact that there is 4 feet of snow is also something that seems to suggest to people that's probably how deep we are in the crisis. So India is worried there.
Yeah, but I don't think people have cancelled or have come here because that growths have slowed down. I think they just fitted in other priorities which were more overriding.
But what does that tell you about India? Do you think that the excitement around India, or let me put it this way, the World Economic Forum and the rest of the world, which has always said India is a gem, it's going to grow, and we're going to be crazy about it, the way we were, that has certainly come down.
I think we've got a lot of bad media across the world.
You're putting the gun on my shoulder now.
Not necessarily. I mean, you're part of the media.
Yeah.
By word of mouth also, we probably got some bad publicity. I think the telecom scandal has got a huge amount of headlines. The scandal on governance has got a huge amount of headlines.
Someone would say rightly so. I mean, the mess is out in the open.
Yes. But that's a good thing about our democracy, is that people can speak up. The press can speak up completely fearlessly.
Yeah.
And that's the strength of the country.
What do you hope?
I personally think that the economic engine of entrepreneurship is so strong in our country that it will keep propelling the country forward. So it's really a play between 7% and 9%, which you're talking about in terms of GDP growth rate.
Mr. Premji, what is your pitch to people at Davos 2012? They're talking about new structures of capitalism, for example, something that will balance progress with parity. Do you think that's possible?
I think people are beginning to realize that green is just not a sustainability is just not a fashion. You can have it as an integrated purpose, integrated part of doing business, which can make profit. And I think that understanding is fairly deep. I think there is a far higher, particularly among the newer generations and among the wives of the newer generation, a far higher consciousness of philanthropy. Which is a good thing, because if that gets more institutionalized,
Yeah.
If people who are active in it can help people who are not active in it as to how to go about institutionalizing it, how to shortlist areas of target, it would be very helpful. Third is, I just think that Indian companies have more and more been exposed to global competition and have built up a lot of self-confidence in terms of competing successfully. The majority of us have competed very successfully, and just the IT industry is not the showpiece.
Sure.
There are many other industries which are the showpiece.
But you've just come back from Stuttgart from meeting clients, and we're sitting here where you'll meet some more people who are potential clients, existing clients. What is the mood like? It's so pessimistic here. Everybody is saying pessimistic is the new normal. Do you expect that there will be better business done in 2012? Technology spends will go up? Will the environment improve? What is your own understanding?
Just restricting itself as a first start to technology. Gartner estimate is that technology spends will be up 3 to 4%.
Okay.
This calendar versus last calendar, which is a positive trend. And the reason is that technology effectiveness, technology use generates productivity, and productivity generates profit. And in a situation of duress, that is even more required. The second reason is that India has got legitimacy now, not only in terms of cost arbitrage, but in terms of technology, in terms of understanding your requirements, in terms of having more flexible business model, in terms of the humility of the Indian companies in the way they treat the customer with more respect and with more sensitivity. Generally, I think some setback has taken place to the image of India.
Yeah.
But I think the developed world has realized that part of their globalization and part of addressing expanding markets like India, China, Africa, Latin America is got a share of risk. So they have to balance the risk-reward ratios.
Which could also mean they could potentially take away some of the investment that they brought in, because the US is showing signs of coming back and they feel that's still the stable economy to go to.
I think what is happening in the US is there's more alertness to unemployment. And a lot of state governments, including central governments, are giving fairly generous incentives for people who add headcount. That is an incentive in itself to adding headcount.